calm yourself.
No.
Okay. We're starting.
Okay.
Hey, welcome to Decaf, the Beacon Center's weekly podcast. I'm Taylor, here with Mark on this very cold Nashville day where I have not taken off my coat all day long. Even though I've been inside all day, I cannot bring myself to do it.
It's been like 3 days of just freezing. It was like 60 and then it went to like 20 all of a sudden. And I don't understand.
I drove an hour and a half Monday morning and snow fell the entire time.
Meanwhile, Saturday, I felt like I could have shorts on.
I'm pretty sure I did wear shorts on Saturday.
It's unbelievable.
It's unreal, but welcome to the South. We either don't have seasons or we have extremes.
Yeah, I don't feel like we had fall this year either. Did you notice the fall? I didn't notice any
summer
leaves.
to freaking cold.
Yeah, that's the official terminology. Summer to freaking cold.
Summer to freaking cold.
Yeah, I feel like there was no leaves or anything this year like there normally is. But
well, before I say anything else stupid, not on topic, let's get on a topic. So the Super Bowl's coming up.
It is. I'm excited.
I don't really care that much because I don't have a team. Like, I feel like I go.
Do you have an NFL team?
No. Like, I grew up kind of going for Atlanta because I lived so close to there. Like, Anniston, Alabama is really close to Atlanta, but not really. It wasn't until Julio Jones from Alabama started playing. And then, Derrick Henry from Alabama started playing for the Titans. And there are Alabama players everywhere.
Sure.
But
you don't have anything you love. Yeah, I mean, I care about fantasy football. Like, I like to watch the games, but I have no interest in who wins.
Maybe I should fantasy football sometime because
I'm sorry. Did you use fantasy football as a verb? As a verb, yeah.
I should fantasy football.
I'm not sure that's correct, but we'll check the dictionary.
It is now. I feel like I should because I feel like it would make me care more.
It would. You care about the dumbest games at the dumbest times. Oh yeah, there's 3 minutes left, and the Browns are down by 45, and you still like, oh, give me 2 more carries. Come on.
I feel like it would be good for my dating life if I knew how to talk about the NFL.
It would. It would be great for your dating life. There should be a class on that. Maybe I should teach like single girls how to understand fantasy football.
Ew. No.
Great idea though. It'll help them.
It's his $1 million idea. I think it's going to be an epic failure, and I do not support it in any way. But one thing I do like about the Super Bowl, I watch it-ish, kind of. I more watch the commercials. I absolutely love Doritos commercials that come out during the Super Bowl. I remember one time there was a Doritos commercial with this mom eating, or the dad was eating Doritos and the mom was getting an ultrasound, and she got so mad at him chomping on it that she threw the bag and the baby jumped in her stomach because the baby wanted the Doritos.
Okay.
And then there was another one with a little kid, and his mom was going on a date, and the guy came in. The guy who was going on a date came in, and he started eating the kid's Doritos, and the kid slapped him in the face and said, "Don't touch my Doritos and don't touch my mama." And I think that Doritos has the best commercials.
They're usually pretty good. Bud Light used to. I still think Bud Light does because they have the whole.
What is it? Dilly Dilly?
Yeah. They've always had that, and they did the fun Game of Thrones kind of spin off. But they used to have, remember the What's Up commercials?
Yeah.
So I feel like Bud Light kills that.
Bud Light is really good too. What was the chubby monkey baby dancing? What was you remember?
I don't know what you mean.
There was that dancing.
Chubby monkey baby?
What was this? And it was like a monkey baby dancing on a commercial. It was like years ago.
You saying it 3 times, I still don't get it.
Everyone hated it. Twitter absolutely blew up, but more people looked it up on YouTube.
That's the funny thing though. All the really bad commercials also get they get so much press for negative reasons. But if it's a brand you've never heard of, you're like, oh, well, that's interesting.
Yeah. Also, the Planters Peanuts, R.I.P. Mr. Peanut. They came out on Twitter today and said prior to the release of their Super Bowl commercial, Mr. Peanut has died at 104 years old.
He was such a classy peanut. Did he have a monocle or glasses?
He had
or something?
A monocle. Yeah. I think he wore a vest and a top hat.
Very classy.
All of these other brands, Oreo tweeted and said they offer a 21 dunk salute to the life of Mr. Peanut. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen with Mr. Peanut.
Wait, real quick before we stop, are you looking forward to J-Lo or Shakira more?
J-Lo all the way.
Okay, I like Shakira better, but okay.
Okay, well, we'll see who does better. So that's actually a question that you talked about this week on Over-Caffeinated with Speaker Sexton, Tennessee Speaker of the House. This is his first year as Speaker, first
session, yeah.
And
after the scandal with the former Speaker.
Yeah, and so we did an Over-Caffeinated episode with him yesterday, and it was one of those where no one ever sees me during Over-Caffeinated. I'm standing behind the camera sipping my coffee.
It's better for everyone.
Shut up. There was a moment, gosh, you frustrate me. There was a moment in that episode where I almost spit my coffee out. I was laughing. And it was when Justin said, y'all were talking about celebrity doppelgangers.
Yeah.
And Justin said that he looks like the young, not yet cracked out version of Macaulay Culkin.
That's right.
almost lost my coffee when he said that.
I see it too. Like, I could see him as a kid looking like Macaulay Culkin.
I can totally see that. And then Speaker Sexton said he looked like Colin Firth from the King's Speech.
And Love Actually. More
and Love Actually, yeah.
I guess most people.
He's in a lot of movies.
He
though.
is.
He's in that What a Girl Wants movie. He was the king. That was the Amanda Bynes movie.
Yeah, I thought it was Amanda Bynes.
And he played the king.
Wow. So his career's gone way up since that point.
All I'm saying is he's a great actor. But y'all talked about a lot of like really cool stuff. Made some bold predictions.
Yeah.
You want to tease some of the topics?
Well, it was cool to talk. It was cool to talk to him, and he was very personable, right? You felt like he was very personable.
I think he was one of the best guests we've had. Like I thought he was great.
And that's a hard thing because most of our guests, like the politicians, I mean, nothing personal to them, but they just seem to be more boring. Like you have John Rich.
Very serious. Politicians also are. It's hard when you're so on the record like all the time.
Exactly. You always have to watch what you say.
So hard.
And that's why I love Glenn Jacobs. He was so good for like.
Yeah, he was
I mean,
great.
granted, he was an entertainer before a politician.
Right.
Though.
He gave you a hard time, and anyone who gives Mark a hard time is a friend of mine.
Yep, that's him and John Rich. But yeah, no. So I mean, I thought he was great, and I mean, we got to talk about some of the legislative things he wants to talk about. We kind of had a whole Super Bowl themed discussion about that. But I think we're excited about kind of what's going to happen coming up with Over-Caffeinated. We have some feelers out to a lot of big celebrities, and we kind of see that show and this show growing. So I mean, and obviously, if you haven't watched it, you should. We'll put a link in here because it's they're kind of related to each other, and this is kind of our weekly version of that.
With us, and so no celebrities except for,
two celebrities.
Yeah, I mean, okay, yeah, two
really cool people.
Two really great, wonderful, good-looking people.
Yeah. Smart.
Yeah. What else can we say?
Motivated, just all the best things.
What does my mom say about me? I need to read through.
Nothing good.
Oh, jeez. But yeah, I think Over-Caffeinated is going to really be a big thing for us this year. So if you have anyone who, we were trying to think of people who've spoken out about politics, like Taylor Swift and Vince Vaughn.
And we don't want people who are right of center. Like, I mean, that's the whole point. It's like it's not just this idea that we want right of center people who agree with us on everything.
I know,
we want everybody. We'd love to have left of center and just people because it's a discussion based show. We want to talk about stuff.
So whoever you want to see, hit us up. Let us know. Speaking of celebrities, there was a bit of a scandal in the country music world over the past couple of weeks. A radio station, I forget where the radio station was.
I think it was in California or something like that.
Somewhere said that when they get requests for songs, they can't play two female artists back to back. And it brought up this whole debate about female artists and how they don't get as much airtime. And, we're in Nashville. I'm friends with a handful of artists, both male and female. And it's
one who I randomly liked, and I didn't know you were friends with her.
Yeah, I have a friend who's a female country artist, and Mark was
Leah
like, how
Turner,
are you friends with this girl?
I know, and she's like all over my iPod.
Yeah, Mark is a big country music fan. I love the people that I love in country music, but
all three of them.
It became really controversial there for a while, and it's something that has been talked about not really in the mainstream for a while in the entertainment world, and now it is. And CMT actually came out today and said they were going to start playing 50-50 male and female artists. And I just think that in 2020, when we've done so much to really and truly, a lot of times when people start debating equality, I say, what isn't equal? Like sometimes I'll say, please point out to me what isn't equal. Because there are things that are still not equal. And I think that we kind of think that we've come so far that things should be fine, but this is something that was brought to the forefront that absolutely wasn't fine.
There's two things about this I think need to be talked about. So as a country fan, I do notice there is a huge disparity in what they play. I mean, they play a lot more guys, and they can be old, young, ugly, handsome, doesn't matter. And I feel like females do have a lot harder time breaking in. I mean, if you think about major female country singers right now, like when you stop outside like Shania Twain, who's been kind of long, and Carrie Underwood, there's not much.
Casey Musgraves,
Casey Musgraves is good, but she doesn't get as much airtime. But there's a secondary thing that, and if I'm being honest, I talk to my friend. I have a lot of female country artists, like probably more. And everyone who listens to my iPod is like, "Oh, why do you have so many females on there?" And almost every person I've talked to, woman or man, says, "I just like guy country singers better. I mean, I just like the sound better. I don't like the deep voices." So I don't love the 50-50 thing. I think that's missing the point.
I think it is missing the point too. I think that the point should be you play what people want to hear, and you shouldn't have quotas. If someone is requesting, if you're playing Carrie Underwood and someone calls in and stands next to you, play Casey Musgraves, play the daggum Casey Musgraves song.
Yeah, I think the idea is that maybe you want to give. They should play more. I like more women, so I'd be interested in hearing more of that. But maybe an hour. and saying 50-50, like, there's just not, I mean, if you look at the people who sell music, there's way more men out there than women, and partially because they don't play it on radio,
right.
but partially because, like, again, I have a lot of females, like, I like some female songs, but I like men's songs generally better, so we need to account for that. The same way, like, I like watching men's sports better than women's sports. It doesn't make me a sexist, and I will still watch, like, the Final Four and stuff, but, like, you need to take that into consideration.
I completely agree.
Because that's coming next. Like, oh, we need to have all women's sports, and WNBA needs to be on as much national TV as the NBA, and, like, then it's a slippery slope.
That's not a thing. Yeah, can you believe that I actually agree with you?
No. Crazy.
Crazy. Witnessing a first, ladies and gentlemen.
And it was nice. I mean, we kind of saw both angles of that.
We totally did. So, one more thing controversial that we can talk about today is the gun rally that happened in Virginia. I guess it was earlier this week.
Yeah, I think Monday or Tuesday.
Maybe?
Yeah, it was, because Martin Luther King Day.
Yes, Martin Luther King Day. So there was a gun rally in Virginia because Ralph Northam, the governor there, wanted to institute some new rules around guns.
Everyone has to wear blackface. Was that his rule, or was that?
Oh my gosh, that was his college. That was his college policy. The new policy is people can only buy one gun a month, and something that really kind of riles me up that they tried to put in place was that authorities can take guns away from people. It's like a red flag law.
Yeah.
People can take guns away from people if they are deemed to be a red flag.
And it seemed like actually was farther than the red flag laws, right? Like it's like the red flag laws that are.
Yeah, it was like really intense, and the fact that authorities can take your guns away and what are the red flag laws based on? I don't know. It seems very arbitrary to me. What I thought was the most interesting part of the protest was the social media presence surrounding it. So a lot of people were on social media saying, why aren't the cops in riot gear? Well, they weren't in riot gear because it was a peaceful protest.
There was no riot, Tennessee Holler really had a field day with it. So
Seriously. They also talked about the fact that there were guns all over the place and no one got hurt. The protesters cleaned up after themselves. There was a protester walking around saying, pick up all the trash. Don't be a slob. Pick up the trash. And I think it's interesting because I was actually having a discussion with a friend the other day who lives in Portugal, and we were watching the Aaron Hernandez documentary together. And
he's here now, not in Portugal.
Well, he's visiting from Portugal.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, he was here, and he was talking about guns in America and how he just doesn't understand because anytime there's a gun, someone's going to get hurt. And then the very next day, we're looking at this protest, and there were guns everywhere. No one got hurt.
Yeah, it's interesting because as somebody, I don't own a gun. I'm not into the gun culture, but of course I believe it should be legal and people should do it. I get that it's kind of like the visceral reaction of when you see somebody with a big gun, you're like, oh, what's going to happen?
Yes.
But if you really can think about it in a better way, then they'd be like, well, probably nothing. The fact they had those almost in some ways makes it safer.
Right.
Because you're not just going to fire on something because a lot of other people have guns there.
Exactly.
So as somebody who's not a gun nut at all.
I'm not a gun. I have a pistol for self-protection, but I'm not a gun nut.
I've never owned a gun, have no interest in the whole gun culture thing, but I get when you see it, it's like, it is kind of scary viscerally.
It is definitely scary.
But if you use common sense and don't just use emotion and think about it, it's like, well, okay, you know what? There was no injuries. There's been a lot of injuries in gun-free zones. So so I just don't think, I get why people feel that way, but me personally, when you actually look at the results, that speaks a lot louder than what it looked like.
Well, actually, I'm about to compliment you again, and I can't even believe it. I can't even believe it, but I like what you just said about when you think about it based on common sense and reason and not just emotion. It makes sense.
And I think people from both sides of the aisle need to do that in everything, because I feel like so much of this is emotional at this point, on both sides.
I hate just as many people on the right as I do on the left. And
well, you hate everybody.
I generally speaking don't like people, but I do definitely agree with that. Wow, we really agreed a lot today. Did you insult me? I mean, you insulted me a couple of times.
I mean, behind the camera.
You wouldn't be yourself, if you didn't.
I have to throw a little bit. I don't want to be. I can't be a fake person.
Really, be yourself, Mark. Never change.
Nobody's ever said that before.
Good Lord, I regret it. Thanks so much for listening. We'll talk to you next week.